Hello, thank you so much for coming to the Sashiko Live Streaming. This is Atsushi, and this is the Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and this is the time for us to stitch and also talk about Sashiko. Okay, let me check everything. First, the audio. Okay, the audio sounds good. I have one announcement today. After this live streaming, we will have the monthly gathering, and this is called Sashiko Gathering monthly. So after this next online Sashiko Gathering is, today is the February 9th, and then after this Thursday live streaming, we will move to the Zoom meeting and we will start chatting. It's more like the same gathering, but it's not a one direction. Live streaming is more like one direction from me to you, but the gathering is more like gathering, talk together. I may not actively participate that, but I will be there. I will try to be there. And there will be Maiko-san as the facilitator, so she will take care of that. If you would like to join, and if you have not signed up with Maiko-san, please try to get a link from the givebatter.com, which the link is on the description. This is going to be right after this live streaming, and I will send the link at 10:30 p.m. when you sign up for that. It is free of charge, and you can get the ticket from the givebatter.com on the description. And everything else is probably fine. I will be in QuiltCon, so I will talk about that little bit today. So I will talk about what I'm going to do in QuiltCon in Atlanta, and also I will start stitching something else. If you have any request for me to talk about today, please let me know. I did not bring specific topic today besides that QuiltCon, so I will try to accommodate my live streaming. At the same time, I do not want this live streaming to be like a lecture or tutorials or workshop, so it's going to be me stitching while sharing about Sashiko stories. Right? I will change the camera. Boop, boop, boop. And then I will today stitch something a little bit different. I just realized that I have only 2 weeks to go to the QuiltCon, and next 2 weeks from now I will be teaching in the QuiltCon, so I have only 2 weeks. And every time this is the kind of jacket that I don't wear usually, but also this is the jacket I don't usually wear. It's kind of too thin, but I tried to wear that in QuiltCon. It has a lot of stitches on that, and I just realized that I completely forgot that there is a incomplete stitching here. And as I plan to prepare a lecture, I don't think I have enough time to stitch. So today is a kind of rare day. I will stitch something besides the Asanoha patterns, which I often do. I usually do these patterns, this is my usual things that I do on the live streaming because I don't have to think about it. But today, as I will stitch and think simultaneously, I might be a little bit more quiet. I try to be as active as possible, but I may be a little more quiet, and I have to see. So your questions will be helpful for me to keep talking. I will probably stop stitching when I really have to talk. But besides that, this is going to be the live. All right. Yeah, so this year in the QuiltCon, I will have the lecture for the first time. Last 2 times in QuiltCon, I had a lecture. I did not have a lecture. Everything was about teaching, and I will teach today. Not today. I will teach in the QuiltCon this year as well. But for this year, I have an honor to share my insight in the lecture form, which is 45 minutes to 15 minutes. And I have so many things that I would like to share, but it is not usually well summarized into the length of 45 minutes or 15 minutes. And I do not want to repeat the same thing over and over. So I've been thinking what it can be good. And it has been challenging for that actually. So for those who may have been following this account or this live streaming, you may realize that my lecture will be kind of repetitive. And I was planning kind of to make it repetitive too, but at the same time, if I have this kind of opportunity to summarize or like to deliver the message, the point of this lecture is to deliver, not to share. I kind of realized that the purpose of a lecture is not to share the story, it's more like deliver the message. The purpose, the whole point of them, participant to be there is to learn something very specific. So I would like to try to see what I can do for that purpose. And that new purpose or that new theme, new challenge is keeping me alert. It's not like usually I have 6 hours for me to teach what Sashiko is in the workshop, so I can sort of improvise. I will have enough time to talk about pretty much everything I have to talk. The order might be different. Order might be here and there, and it might be different from there and there. But I will usually have enough time to take care of that. But this time it's only 45 minutes. And I don't think some of them might know me, or some of them might have read or have watched this YouTube, but I have to assume that they are there for the first time to hear what I'm going to say. So I have a topic. I made a topic to submit the application, so I will follow that, which is the cultural sustainability, not the preparation, cultural sustainability. And it is very challenging, has been challenging for me last couple of weeks, and I kind of forgot that it is only 2 weeks from now. But if you are gonna be there, and if you know Sashiko already, you might think, and I might say that the lecture might not be as exciting as something learning new, but I will try to make it somewhat new for those who may know me already. Now I'm raising the bar by myself, so but since I'm gonna be there, and this is probably the first lecture for the lecture format. I have done some talks, small talks or panel discussions, but in terms of the lecture, probably this is the first time. So I'm excited, nervous, and scared. That's, I think, what it is, right? That's what it is. What the? Somebody's texting me like crazy. Just a second. Hey. Good morning, Candida. So yes, today's so next week's live streaming is the kind of not last. I will not have the live streaming on the week of 23rd. Wait, so today's 9th, right? So yeah, 23rd, 2 weeks from now, this live streaming will be cancelled, will not be held. And then I will come back again. Then I'll go to Japan, then I have to probably cancel it again. So this spring may be a little bit inconsistent, but I hope that you can keep stitching. See, I stopped talking, right? So that's that. I probably will talk more about QuiltCon next week. The more I get um, stressed out, I will probably only focus on that. So I will talk about it next week more. It is the time that I kind of get really, really busy. QuiltCon, tax return, you know, a lot of things comes at the same time. But it is very important. It's very important to have those moments to stitch. And I'm so glad that some people realizing that Sashiko is not the word for the just mending or visual. Not a. Some people still learning that my voice is reaching to some people that Sashiko is not the word for the mending only or even for. See, I forgot. I see. This is the problem. This is the problem that I stitched this pattern. I forget what I have to talk. Sashiko is not only for the word of mending, and Sashiko is not about making one stitch. Today's live streaming might be a little bit clumsy, like not probably smooth, because my brain is not. It is relatively easier pattern to stitch, so I probably don't have to stop stitching to talk. At the same time, when I kind of shift my brain to this pattern, I may have to kind of. I will probably. I will slip off from the main conversation. So in these cases, it's much easier to just answer the question. So if you have any questions, I mean, not technical question, but if you have any request for me to talk about or questions, I'm happy to do that. I was talking about what I'm doing every week, and I just kind of realized that how crazy it is to do this live streaming every week. Like a few years ago, I could not sustain myself to keep stitching and talking for 1 hour. If somebody had a question or discussion topic, then yes, I probably have done that. But it was very difficult for me to keep talking without any specific topic. Now, of course, I have to bring my own topic, but I can usually to sustain the topic. And English was not my favorite subject in school in my student age, so it's kind of crazy. What are you teaching at QuiltCon? The same thing. It's the same. What I'm teaching is the same thing as the core and essence. Sashiko core and essence. That exactly what you learned. It's the exactly same contents from the online one. It's just in-person one, and it's the same. Really, thankfully that many people are interested in that, and this year I also got a waiting list, and I guess as long as I have a waiting list, there's a need or even interest for that. Yeah. There's actually not that much things that I can teach after that, the core and essence. It is true that I offered something else in the previous year's called Conan. There's one class that I could technically teach, which I kind of named the application and practice. But that workshop is not really. It's a choice, but it's really not a. It's not powerful as the core and essence. I have a pretty good confidence in that workshop to offer something completely different from the technique or philosophy perspective. And I get a lot of requests to offer the other type of workshops after that. But I don't have that much topic or information to teach after the first workshop, because I pretty much teach everything in the first workshop or class, online class. So I developed the class, so-called application practice, and I used that class in the 3 days workshop as well. But what we do is more like let's enjoy together based on the information that one gets from the core essence or the first workshop. I often use this analogy, but the core essence, the first workshop or the workshop I teach for the first, like everybody who does Sashiko in our way, is like the class teaching them how to ride a bicycle. So let's say that you don't know how to ride a bicycle, and then you come to me to learn how to ride a bicycle. It may be, of course, the practice is important, but at the same time, a professional can help them to learn how to ride a bicycle more efficiently or quicker. And that application and practice workshop is more like I will take them to the bike ride together, like a bike park, and we try to do the attractions with the information or with the knowledge that I shared in the first workshop while practicing or praying for 6 hours. And I think it was a very good workshop as well, but at the same time, it is not as powerful as the... So this year, I don't offer that. Instead, I offer 2 full-time workshops for the core essence and then 1 lecture. I probably have to a little bit brush it up more to make it more entertaining. By the way, extreme case of that, I will take you to the bike park, right? There's no ending for that perspective. So the core essence has the ending. 6 hours, I try to complete it. I will teach everything one has to know about studying the Sashiko. And after that is more like endless. Like no matter how many hours or how many times I teach, there will not be any ending. It's more like how many, we will never get tired of going to Disneyland or those amusement park. Extreme case scenario, extreme result, extreme outcome of that, I will take you to the theme park or amusement park or bike ride is the Japan trip. Which I will have it this coming spring as the first trial. It's kind of a trial, so it's really not official. I don't sell that package to anybody else. It's not available to anybody in the market. It's more like I will take my friends to Japan kind of thing. So it's not really commercialized. But that tour is more like the extreme version of I will take you to the bike ride with the understanding of the core and essence of this running stage Sashiko. We will do a lot of things together. So yeah, the tour itself is also has the prerequisite of this online class or in-person workshop of core and essence. It's just, I just want everybody to be able to ride a bike before they go to the bike ride. They don't have to be good at bike riding, but I want them to kind of know how to do that, how to practice. It's not how to ride, it's more like how to practice that. And the first workshop offer that. And online class does too. So that's that. That's that. It's a little bit busy spring. So I don't have time for this jacket to be completed, unfortunately. It is actually completed already, but I stupidly add something already, so kind of bringing this jacket as unfinished project is not my best interest. I don't want to bring something incomplete. Every Sashiko project is incomplete, but at the same time there's a little bit of timing that I can somewhat call it complete. And I want to bring this jacket to that level, at least, before I bring it to Atlanta. Oh, thank you, Sharon, for the congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, it's really a privilege to do that. I limit my, I don't know if this is helping or not, but I try to limit the opportunity to teach in the, I try to kind of minimize the numbers of workshop I offer every year. So the maximum is 6 or 7. Like if I plan to teach once every 2 months, I think that's good. More than that, it's a little too many. And this is based on my experience in the past. I just need a little bit of balance for that. Without that balance, I start getting kind of weird. So for that, it's a very great opportunity to have it. And I think that's because, I offer not that many workshops. I keep getting those offers, requests from many organizations. That's really thanks to you for that. Thank you so much for sharing those informations verbally, mouth to mouth. Since I don't really have a budget for the advertisement, it's really helpful to have the award. Yeah, that's our spring this year. Workshop in the QuiltCon and then tax return. I haven't done anything, but not started yet. And then another workshop in Florida. This one is the 3 days workshop. So I will do both core essence and application practice in 3 days. I think there are still some seats available there. So if you are new to Sashiko completely with me, that might be a very good opportunity to take for 3 days. Then I'll be in Japan, so exciting. I might not like it. I might not like it. So let's see. Let's keep stitching and see what's gonna happen. Here, right? So I might not like this pattern. It is shippo patterns with a little bit of improvisation. I think I started the stitching as the sample. I was wearing this jacket out of nowhere, and then no, I was wearing this jacket and somebody asked me what is Sashiko stitching in the meeting style somewhere that I wanted to share them what Sashiko stitching are like. And there was a reason for that. I don't remember the reason, but I had an opportunity to show what Sashiko is, and I probably used this jacket because I didn't have any fabric. I usually have like a thread and needles really close. So that's why it's really incomplete. And even the patterns is not there yet. Well, it was already gone when I found out. So I'm adding something new. Oh, sorry for hearing. It's crazy weather here. Like it was cold and it's hot, it's warm. My cherry blossom might completely get confused and start blooming somehow. And it's still cold again. So it is normal to be tired, right? Oh, it is completely different topic, but I will have the online Sashiko class in Japanese tomorrow. Oh, it looks like nice soft denim, at least. It is quite soft, nice denim, but it's a little stretchy. It's too soft in my opinion. It's my opinion, so we might have different opinions about it, but for me it's a little too soft. That's why it's kind of difficult to control it. That makes it a little more challenging. But it is nice. I don't know if I would call it nice, but it's soft. It's soft for sure. Yeah, so it's kind of difficult to get a rhythm. That's another fun part. The soft. It's not like the softer the fabric is, the better it is. We have to have a very specific fabric preference. Your preference might be not the same as mine, but usually it's gonna be similar. But this is quite soft for the denim. But not bad at all. It's not. I'm not saying it's a bad fabric. So I was gonna say this one. So I will have the Japanese Sashiko class tomorrow online. It has been a few months. Well, I mean, actually, more than a few months. Almost half year to do so. I usually offer that when I get a request to do it, and I don't even commercialize. I mean, I don't even advertise that it exists. It does not exist actually. It's not on anywhere. You have to really read the website to find what it is. So those who reach to that information can access that. So there are few reasons that I'm not so focused on that. Is that, well, it is happening in Japan, so it's more like I don't want to say pro bono work. We asked them to pay, but it's the payment to my mother. So of course I don't get so much um, incentive. The motivation itself is not high, but I'm happy to offer that workshop in Japanese, people in Japanese. But it does not often occur like the workshop in the US. At the same times, if there's anything that I can be proud of what I'm doing, that might be the thing that I'm very, very proud of myself. That I am teaching Sashiko to the Japanese people, my own people, and they are happy with the result. So the reason I have the Japanese live streaming is quite simple. That I want them to check what I'm saying. As much as I'm trying to share my personal stories, I would like to make sure that I'm not saying something insane. Like, I often explain what Japanese people are, or like Japanese culture is, and it's my own interpretation, but I don't want that interpretation far from what the other Japanese people who live in Japan right now. And having them on the live streaming is very, very helpful. And some of them taking my class with paying actual money is a very, very, very big um, achievement for me. It's really helpful for me to be confident in what I'm doing. So I will have that opportunity tomorrow again, and I get nervous every time I teach anyway, regardless of the language. So that's gonna be another workshop, and it'll be fun. It will be quite fun. like it is kind of, I don't want to say it's easier, but I think it's easier to teach in outside of the culture because, like, for example, it is almost impossible for me to teach how to cook authentic Japanese food in Japan because there's so many teachers who are doing it. Um, so I won't have any advantage of teaching that. Like, there's no reason that many people come to my cooking class over somebody very like experienced. I like cooking, and I think I can, and I will be able to teach stuff, basic stuff. But I don't have a guts. I don't think well, not I don't think I won't. I will not offer any such. I mean, the cooking class in Japan in Japanese. It's too scary, or too embarrassing for that matter, to share how not skilled I am in comparison to the other like cooking masters. So, but I think I can offer the cooking class, Japanese cooking class locally in this town because not many people knows how to do the basic cooking. That's kind of similar analogy. It's probably good, easier to teach in another country about that specific culture because nobody will judge it. So similarly, Sashiko, probably it's easier for me to teach Sashiko just in English. But at the same time, I don't want that happen because I can start losing my mind as well. And that's not what I want. So it is very, very, very important for me to keep offering the Sashiko class in Japanese to Japanese people who actually live in Japan or who has been using Japanese for their life still. So that will explain that. That will so not explain. That will kind of guarantee that what I'm teaching is not my hallucination or like made up stories. It is still true that some Japanese people are thinking or feeling the same way. That's, I think, a big credential that I can offer. If I'm saying something crazy or like something really nonsense at this moment already, probably they can point it out. They, we say that Japanese people don't speak English. And that's quite true. Not many people speak English, but it's not that they don't understand at all. They do understand some, then they're not understanding well enough to make a conversation, but they do understand some of those. So I don't think that I can continue this kind of live streaming or sharing stories if they're not happy with what I'm sharing. So that's tomorrow, and then grilled corn. Wow, the spring is quite busy. Sorry, somebody's texting me crazy again. What do you want? Ay, ay. Hmm. What was I talking? Oh yeah, the teaching Sashiko in Japanese. That also explained that Sashiko is kind of a lost culture. Unfortunately, it is kind of lost. If it's not lost culture, they don't have to take my class. But there are quite many Japanese people who wants to learn how to do Sashiko stitching, which explains that, I don't want to say it's too late, And it is not too late from the cultural perspective, but it can be too late as well. It's gone already. It's gone once. And the Japanese people decided to discontinue Sashiko when they got wealthier, and there are several numbers of like probably less than 10, well, more than 10, but less than 10 with names, decided to revive Sashiko in 1960s or 1970s. And after the 60 years from that, we are kind of we about 10 years ago, we kind of decided to not to continue that. So it has become something else. Those who revived Sashiko almost 60 years ago are not active that much. Some of them are already gone, passed away. And, you know, there's a big gap in between. If there's anybody in between as a bridge, probably it would have been easy. And the tradition has to be like that. You know, one has to have always a bridge. But I think Sashiko did not take that route, which is sad, but it's understandable as well. I just have to make sure that I will not leave anybody behind in this culture. I mean, it's impossible to not to leave anybody behind because I don't know everybody, right? my wish is to not to leave anybody behind in this culture. If there's a Japanese person who is practicing Sashiko, I would like to understand or learn what she or he is doing and pass it down to them. So that's why I don't define the answers. If I define the answers, many people will follow what my answers, but they think that what I say is the answer and what the other people are saying is completely not right. That is gonna destroy the culture in the big picture. That's why I try to not to define the answers, and I will try to share as many stories as possible. So my goal is to not to leave anybody behind. At the same time, it's not realistic too, because I don't even know if those people exist or not. I know those people exist, but I don't know everybody who is doing that. I'm very keen. I try to be as keen as possible to find those people who has very strong message in Sashiko. And I sometimes meet those person who has very, very strong opinions about what Sashiko should be. And sometimes in their definition, what I'm doing is not Sashiko, which is perfectly fine. We can be friends. And some people say that the kin is not Sashiko. And you know, that's a pretty strong statement, because many people think that Fukin is the Sashiko in today's world. But it is important to say that there are people who kind of disagree with the trend. So I don't have that much powerful statement. Powerful is a too positive word. Honest. I am honest, but not. I am as honest as I can, but I don't have that much deep experience to define what is and what is not. So it's quite difficult for me to. Well, like for example, I am going to see the teacher who teach Kogin in Tokyo, and she has been stitching for 50, 60, 70 years, right? So she is the person who has been stitching that specific Kogin for that many years. And you know, she's the living legend for that matter. She is teaching. I had just meeting a couple days ago, and she is very active. She has a little bit of ear issues. I mean, the hearing difficulties. So she needed somebody to speak out loud in front of the computer. But according to her, some people define her Kogin is not Kogin. So there's a difference. Even in Kogin, there are differences, and some people, you know, dislike each other. Some people do not prove each other. But that's what culture is. It is like difference is always good. Not always, but difference can be good. What I want to do is to pick up those voices and try try to share as many as I can. And this spring, I will see her, talk to her, learn what she's doing, why she's doing, what kind of things she's doing. And in most cases, by looking at what she makes, we can understand as I always say that what we make speaks more than what we say. So I can really tell who is stitching or not. So there are there are quite many Sashiko teachers, I guess, in this world, but there's a huge difference between those who teach and stitch and who teach and focus on teaching. I'm trying to be the one who teach and stitch. That's why I want to have only 6 workshops every year. I really need to focus on stitching. Otherwise, I will lose my credibility. But teaching really requires a lot of energy, so it is very understandable that one cannot keep stitching if we start teaching. But after all, what we're doing is stitching, so in order to teach, I gotta stitch. Well, I want to stitch for that matter, not I gotta. So there's so many people like that in Japan. This time I can talk to only a few of those. 1, 2, 3, not a few, 5 of those, 5. But I should have done that 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I should have done that 20 years ago, but it is kind of too late. And those who can speak up by themselves, I don't have to listen to them that much intensively. If they can have somebody who can represent themselves, that's not something I should be prioritizing. I would like to prioritize who does not have the word or way to speak up in English or in the bigger field or market here, the internet. I don't know if she is interested in translating everything what she does, but if she is, I will try my best to share her stories. And there's so many kinds of Sashiko that I cannot even explain or introduce in those 5 years of doing live streaming. That's why I don't want to define the answer. I cannot define the answer. You will get my answers, or you will get my definition by learning what it is. But I cannot just simply offer the answer to the question, what is Sashiko, and then, those who define, they don't know the stories. That's why they can define so easily. It's kind of funny for that. It's like a joke. Can you describe American in one word? Like, can you describe that? Like, what is the answer to be the authentic American? I live in the U.S., so like, I see many Americans. I don't see many Americans, but I live with American people in the U.S. So let's say that, like, what is the answer to be the American? Can you come up with that? It doesn't have to be American. It can be anybody, but there's no such a thing as the answers, right? Is there any answers to be American? Because if there is, I would like to follow that. And we can make a lot of jokes around it. Like, for example, one has to have a gun because that's the social issues. That's I don't know if it's funny or not, but that does not define American people, right? So it is almost impossible to define culture or people in one sentence or one phrase as if there's answer. And it is okay, again, I keep saying, like, it is okay to teach that as a guide. Like if somebody wants to go to US, then if you can, if you're asked to tell them what American people are like, of course you can teach. They can teach what it's gonna be like as a part of their whole. If they're teaching about, tourism or something, that can be one way to do that. But they should not teach that on behalf. And that's what scares me the most. And that's why I keep asking to learn more. By the way, if you have the answer, what is the American people? Like, what is the authentic answer to be American people? Please, what is the answer to be the authentic American people? Please let me know. It can be your opinion, because I think there's no specific answer for that. Because we have a lot of definition, what is the American people? But that's what's happening in culture too. By somebody defining it so easily without learning. Worse, without even being there. It's like discussing what is American culture without being here, without speaking English. So I don't think it's fair. Not even fair, it's kind of funny. And it's sad that people follow those answers. Like, come on. But that's what the society is like. Again, I understand that's what society is looking for. Very concise, precise, compact, instant answers. A few years ago, YouTube was the kind of solution for that. 10 minutes videos, 20 minutes videos of how to, or those compact summarized video on anything was very, very big trend in YouTube. So people had a few minutes to watch those things as the answer to, to find the answers. That's why there's so many videos on how to, right? Like, how to fix your plumbing issues or how to change your carpet. There are still those videos, and that's very, popular. But now bigger market is the short video. They don't want to watch that video for 10 minutes or 20 minutes already. They need shorter answer to apply to their life. So you are very, very rare, and I really appreciate you being here, that you are listening to my speaking for 1 hour. It's really rare. They don't stay. They don't really, they're not looking for this kind of thing. They just need a very, very specific and fast answers. And that's the trend. So this kind of culture is not probably needed. It's not really the main trend. It cannot be the main trend. But that's why, therefore, I do not want it to be different. Because this cannot be expedited. Like, stitching cannot be expedited no matter what. It can be fast, but it cannot be like a machine. So I would like to keep this as is, so that when one really wants to learn something completely different from what the trend is. Like if I start sharing those videos, like saying like 30 seconds in Sashiko, be careful. I'm probably losing my mind. I forgot. So I made a video, videos wise. So unfortunately, I'm not really uploading a lot of videos, which I probably should, to stabilize my life. But it takes a lot of time to edit the videos. But I made the videos about the pattern's name for the stitched fabric that I now sell. And it was a request from Candida last week to I promised to upload it, and I have not done yet because it's no music, no audio. So I'm trying to add my explanation, but I don't know if I can do it next week. So I will do it right now. And do I have that fabric left in the US? I may have a few fabric left. I have to check it, but there's not that many left in Japan too. We are working on it, making it, but it's not really easy to make. So we don't have it that yet. But those are the 9 patterns that we decided to use for one project last 2 years ago, actually, 2021, toward the end, we decided to make that fabric. And some of you may have that fabric, and this is do you see this one? 9 patterns of Sashiko. And the first one is called Kagome. Oh, you probably cannot read that in the explanation, so I will make a video again. But this is Laimon. And each pattern has a little bit of meaning. And those small characters explaining the meaning. And then the third one is Higaki. And yeah, I believe that I added some example or explanation. And this is our favorite patterns, Asanoha, which means hemp leaves. And I am planning to add the audio, like as if I'm talking right now. This is the Yamagata. It means like a mountain shape. This is called Kakushippo. I think that's what Candida meant as was the flower patterns. This is called Sayagata. So I need probably more than 10 seconds per slide. Probably 20 seconds so I can. No, probably this one is the flower pattern called Marshippo. Those are the shippo patterns with the different variations. And the final one is the Jujitsunagi. Yeah, Jujitsunagi. So I will try to upload this video with my explanation. If you need a slide, just let me know. I can probably come out with a PDF or something. But those are the 9 patterns that we try to stitch on one sheet of fabric in 2021. And some people probably purchased that already. Thank you so much for that. We will probably come up sometimes this year. I hope we can do that. So that's that. I promise that I will upload it by today, but please take this as the alternative. I didn't have time to add the audio. I think we can stay for 1 hour because we are doing Sashiko with you at the same time and enjoy it. Thank you. Yeah, so this live streaming, I do not require to stitch, but I strongly recommend you to keep stitching, because that's what Sashiko's originally scenery would have been. I cannot say should have been, but usually they do Sashiko stitching in their house by themselves. But I believe that there were those moments that they got together to stitch. And like probably weekly. I don't know if they had a concept of week, but it is gonna be like this. It's just we are enabling this meeting thanks to the internet. In the original form, it was probably just somebody's house or somewhere in the community place. And stitching while talking is one very significant, important part of Sashiko. I don't want you to focus on each stitch by stitch with focusing it. Like, if one student say like, please be quiet, I'm trying to focus on Sashiko, that's really, really going against the Sashiko's principle. Like if you have to focus and requiring this quiet, like complete silence, that's really not following the complete principle. Opposite, you need noise. Not a need, but you probably prefer noise. And I think what I teach is how to do that, how to stitch in the noise or how to stitch in even talking. I would like you to be able to talk and stitch simultaneously. That change a whole practice, in my opinion. No, not opinion, my understanding. Where do I go next? So after this thread, I will complete today's live streaming. It's 1 hour, but I do have a live session after this live streaming, which is going to be starting in 30 minutes, 10:30 in Eastern time. And that will be hosted by Maiko-san, by Plum Studio. If you have already signed up to her website, you should have the link by now. She had sent it yesterday, so you should have the link by now. If you don't receive it, and if you have received it before and if you have not received it by now, please contact Maiko-san. If you're completely new, please go to the description area of this live streaming and you can find the link to the givebutter.com and you can get a ticket there, which is free of charge. But if you could get a ticket, I will send a link like a minute before the actual starting, like 10:30, 10:29 or so. It's the gathering where you can talk and stitch together. Here you're listening, right? You listen and stitch here. In the gathering, you talk. I will be there. I might not be actively joining, but I will be there, and we will have a gathering as the Japanese people would have done that before. Okay, let's finish it up this much stitching and then I probably stitch more than necessary. Where is that? I don't know if I like the result, but let's see. Not what I thought. Not what I was imagining, but no. I might not like it, but I will keep adding. I will keep adding. It's not what I thought it would be. Oops. Oopsie. Well, it's not done yet. I have to keep adding the things, but oopsie. So 2 sides of shippo. I thought it would have some reaction, but it probably did not. See, by looking at those like experimental, right? I did not know how it's gonna go. It's experimental. I'm not 100% happy with this one. It's so unpredictable and the result might be very unsatisfying like this. Again, I have not given up yet. I will keep adding, there might be something else. But this one is very, very, very expectable. It's easy to expect to this result. It's always satisfying. That's another reason that I don't do anything outside of these specific patterns, because I don't have to get disappointed. I don't like, it's not, Sashiko is not art to me. So I don't need like a creative, I don't need a creativity moment. I don't have to be creative. I just need a solid expected boring result. So this one is boring, but it does not give me the kind of strange feeling. This one, even this one is very predictable, but I don't get disappointed. Anyway, thank you very much for coming to the live streaming on Thursday night. I will see you in 30 minutes or so. Please come to the live gathering if you have time after this. The ticket is available from the description area. Otherwise, I hope you have a good night. And I will see you next week around the same time. And